Okay, well, welcome everyone to Summer Networking Nights, living and working in Austin, Texas. We've got a really great panel set up for us today, and um, I'll introduce myself and then we'll just kind of go across the screen and let everyone in the room give a little introduction. My name is Liz Moak. I am the Assistant Director of Alumni Relations at Rhodes College, and we'll just go across the screen as the order people are in. So Jim Kingman, you're up.
Hi, I'm Jim Kingman. I'm an assistant district attorney here at the DA's office in Travis County. I've lived here twice, but most recently since December of 2018. And I live in the Barton Hills area.
Thank you. Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Baumann. I started an illustrated gift and design company when I was a junior at Rhodes. And I grew up in San Antonio, so not too far down 35, but just moved back here about a year ago. So that's me.
Thanks. Chi.
Hey y'all, name's Chi Whitley, and I am an Austinite since '96, but graduated Rhodes in 2016, and I've came back here, I guess, after a year of teaching in Memphis, so came back here in 2017, and currently working as a content marketing intern at a startup called Pinwheel.
Great. Tracy.
Hi, I'm Tracy Patterson. I'm the Director of Alumni Relations at Rhodes, and I'm a member of the class of '84.
Amy.
Yep, there we go.
There you go.
Amy Moen, Associate Director in Career Services, mainly advising our junior and senior students.
Thank you. Allie.
Hi, I'm Allie. I studied political science and Spanish at Rhodes and have now been in Austin for about 10 years within the digital marketing social strategy space, currently at USAA in San Antonio. Sarah, I didn't know you were from there, but good place.
Yeah, I have like some friends that work there, but I know there's a million people that work there, so.
That's my
only 30,000.
Only 30,000.
USAA is awesome. That's my insurance carrier, so they're the best.
Oh,
there we go.
For your membership. Yeah, it's a wonderful company to work for.
Okay, and I will let our students who are in attendance introduce themselves as well. I will start with Arden, or young alums.
Yes, hello. My name is Arden, and I graduated from Rhodes in 2017 with a bachelor's in religious studies. I officially moved to Austin when I graduated, and now I work at the Austin Humane Society as their development manager. So fundraising, grants, all of that good stuff. And I've worked there for a week now. So this is very exciting. Excited to learn all about Austin from all the people who've lived there for so long.
Okay, great. Sarah.
Hi, everyone. My name's Sarah Barnes. Hi, Amy Moen. I did not know you were going to be on this call. Amy actually gave me my first corporate internship ever. She took a chance on me at Service Master. So, hi, I miss you. I've lived in Austin for, oh my gosh, 3 years now. Came here to get my master's degree in finance. And then after that, been working in the commercial real estate space.
Great. And Eric.
Eric, you might be muted.
Let me see if I can help out here.
And tonight,
Eric.
Oh,
hello. Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm Eric Simon, and I just graduated this past year, 2020, from Rhodes, and I have a business degree. And I'm from Austin, and I plan on hopefully finding a job in Austin pretty soon.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So I have some questions prepared for our panelists today, and so we'll go through some of those, and then with the remaining time for our session, we'll open it up to our students and young alums in attendance. So my first question for our panelists is, how did you get plugged into your current position in Austin, or how did you kind of get just connected to be able to do what you do in Austin. We're just going to go in order. So Jim, you're up first.
So I've actually moved to Austin twice for lawyer jobs. The first was for a judicial clerkship with Sharon Keller, who's the presiding judge of the Court of Criminal Appeals, which is the criminal Supreme Court in Texas. One of the benefits is that even though Austin's a relatively small city, it has not only if you're interested in public service, it has all of the obviously state offices and agencies, which is more than just the Capitol. It's also all of the various fields, and for lawyers in particular, that's a very good entry level job that is pretty attainable. Then I bounced around a couple different DA's offices. District attorney here only does felonies, so you need more experience after law school. I joined the district attorney's office where I did white collar prosecution. Now I'm in the special victims unit, specializing in child sexual assault cases. The way that I got plugged into that, I mean, essentially Travis County is one of the better DA's offices in the state, and people stay there for 20 years or so. And so you sort of just kind of have to wait and get lucky. But there are city level prosecutors and misdemeanor level prosecutors run by different agencies. So there's a couple pipelines to get into a good, a mid-level lawyer position that kind of everyone uses, because you can't just jump straight into it.
Okay, great, thank you. Sarah?
Yeah, I feel like mine's gonna be a little different than normal jobs, but I just started my business. I started an Etsy shop when I lived in a West Village dorm room. But being from Texas, I knew that Austin was really cool and upcoming and just wanted to move back here. It actually shifted my business quite a bit when I moved here. I moved all of my packaging and fulfillment and shipping to a remote fulfillment company, which is based here. And that was kind of part of the pull as well, because I wanted to be where they were. So there wasn't too much to it other than I wanted to live in Austin, but it's been really great, and there are wonderful resources and opportunities here for artists. And anyway, it's a good time.
Thanks. Chi?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Austin again, and I mean, I wanted to come back here pretty much after being in Memphis. It's a great city. So first after graduating, taught, and then came back to Austin and was considering going to law school. So I ended up getting connected through through basically kind of a odd family connection, and ended up working at a big corporate law firm here in Austin, but realized it wasn't necessarily for me. Took some time off to figure out what I wanted to do, and ended up getting into marketing. So that kind of hit actually when COVID hit, so right before. So I did one internship here, and that was based off another family connection. And then the one I'm at right now, actually, my brother's twin brother is also interning, but he was like, hey, they're hiring people right now. He's kind of interning and hoping to get something full-time similar to what I'm doing. But yeah, he has a master's in science and marketing, and I'm kind of just getting into marketing and figuring that space out. So kind of where a lot of people are now, and taking what I can get, but learning a lot.
Hey, fantastic, thanks. And Allie?
Yes, I moved to Austin on a whim. I didn't know anybody, so I asked for a list of alumni from both my high school. I'm from Dallas originally, and then also from Rhodes. Reached out to a couple alumni who were there in a variety of different careers. Again, I studied political science and Spanish and didn't know if I wanted to go the political route or do something else. I ended up reaching out to one childhood friend who was working at a digital marketing consulting firm. And after I interviewed there, I reached out to her. She introduced me to her boss, and we had a conversation about what the role would entail. And I was very excited about the thought of working for brands like Estee Lauder and Michael's Craft Store and American Express. And so loved the agency life. And so once I was offered that position, I stepped into marketing when I never thought that was something that I would do, and have kind of bounced around since then, largely just based on different connections that I've made within my career path.
Okay, Thank you. So what is one piece of advice you would give someone who wanted to kind of break into the field that you're in? So, like if you're talking to someone who's just started out or is thinking about getting kind of plugged into, what you each do, how would you advise them to get started in Austin? Jim?
Well, if you're coming out of law school and looking for a position, obviously if you have gone to law school here, that might help. But if you're coming from out of state like I did, then you still have access to some kind of you just have to be prepared to not make a lot of money at first, which coming out of law school is not exactly comfortable and convenient. But if you can live with roommates and be frugal, you can get really good experience working for the government somehow. I think that's kind of the best way to get a ton of experience. I think that there are big law firms here, but typically that pipeline is sort of determined through the law school route, on-campus recruiting route. So it wouldn't be something that you would just randomly throw in an application for.
Yeah. I was like, I don't even know if someone wants to be an artist or wants to like start a business. Like, I don't really know. But overall, I would just say if you want to get into something product based and a small business with that, like create a really wonderful customer experience and have really great products, and those will speak for themselves and do your work for you. More specific to Austin, there are some really great networking groups here, like the Rising Tide Society is one, and it's like a networking group for creative business owners, and kind of can get you connected to a lot of other people that are doing what you're doing, and also like accountants and lawyers and the other people that you will need. And there are quite a few groups like that. There was like 2 in Memphis and like a couple in Nashville, but Austin has a lot of options. Or just like business networking groups can be great too. I feel like I'm usually like the artsy one in that group, but that's kind of fun too, because then it's like, I got gifts. So anyway, yeah, get connected to people and make good stuff.
Thanks. Chi?
Yeah, so I'm actually early on in my career in marketing, but I'm kind of going into content marketing, trying to figure out what exactly that means still. So I'm probably more interested in what Allie's answer is than my own. But I would say for marketing, I think it helps to, especially now if you're a recent graduate or, have some summer off and had an internship cancel, like learn Google Analytics, learn how to use different systems like WordPress or anything of that sort, because it's going to be essential for you to have. And having the liberal arts education is great, but you're not necessarily getting those type of skills unless you're getting an internship or other similar work experience. So that's one way you can build up your resume, and say, hey, like I have some marketing experience, or I don't have a marketing experience, but I have these 5 skills, and that might give you a leg up on someone else. So that's something I'm also kind of doing on the weekends, is just building out my own portfolio, and teaching myself other things that are necessary to be in this field.
Okay, great, thank you. Allie?
Yes, and everyone had such great answers. Agree with what Jim was saying in terms of reaching out, getting an intern, offering to work for nothing, I would even say. Like most people, especially if you have a connection through Rhodes, if you need to just gain the experience. I've had people shadow me for a week at a time just to learn what I do, or different people on the Team USAA has a very extensive internship program, which is great for people who want to learn more about the industry in the field. I agree with Sarah, networking groups, lots of opportunities within Austin. And other than that, I would just say be curious from a social marketing standpoint. And for content, I would say when I interview a candidate or when I look for people, social is somewhat easier because you can promote your personal brand, or on Twitter you can share articles or content that's of interest to you, or share your own personal thoughts on things. So that's a great way to just get a little bit of experience, read articles, Inc. Ad Age, all the different industry publications, again, for social marketing and digital strategy. Everything is so new and brands are figuring it out as we go. And so just having a baseline industry understanding is always great to come to an interview or an internship with, so that you can be that voice of what's happening today.
Okay, thank you. So yes, we've talked a lot about on the working in Austin, but the other part of this is living in Austin. So what are some do's and don'ts for like living in Austin? Like some tips on finding a place to live, neighborhoods, that type of thing. Jim?
So I've lived in 3 different places in Austin. The first 2 I lived in were, and I've always lived relatively close. I was working at the Capitol, and I kind of always had this dream growing up of like working at the Texas Capitol and like being able to ride my bike there, which I pulled off. It was not as romantic as I thought it was going to be. It's in fact quite hot, but I did it. But of course, you have to be pretty close, and obviously, rent is expensive here in Austin. But if you're, when you're 24 and you want to live close to the bar district, it might be worth that. I was lucky that I lived with my parents for like a year before that, so I'd saved up a little bit. Now I live in one of the neighborhoods south of the river called Barton Hills, so it's near Zilker Park and Barton Springs Pool. And we got really lucky in that we found a place that was renting in this area. It's mostly houses for sale for way more money than we can afford. I think that until you are ready to move out to the burbs for the schools, like try to live as close in as you can and just pay the premium. It's worth it. The amenities for Austin, culturally, I mean, that's why you want to be here, is the restaurants and God willing, we come back to that, and the bar districts and the cultural stuff. So yeah, it is expensive, and that's definitely something to be aware of. But I think it's definitely worth it to try to be as close in as possible.
Thank you. Sarah?
Yeah, I totally agree. I also just would say, like, talk to people that, I mean, I guess that's what someone's doing if they're on this Zoom call, but I moved here and I had friends here, but I was like, I just want to get a big apartment really north, like, and I was basically in Pflugerville, which is not that cool, not really cool at all. And so I was like Ubering from like Pflugerville to downtown Austin, which was like insane. So yeah, like I feel like it makes so much more sense to pay a little more, be a little closer. I'm like on the east side now. If anybody knows where Franklin Barbecue is, I'm like right across the street. In an apartment there and renting, and I can like walk to the Capitol, walk to the, well, not really walk to the river, but I can bike to the river. But like it's easy to get around when you're down here, and there are so many other young people that have dogs and are cool and fun. And anyway, it's a cool area to be in, and definitely recommend being closer. It's so much more fun.
Thanks. Chi.
Yeah. Austin, since I've grown up, it's just gotten so much more expensive, but that's how it goes in pretty much any major city across the United States, especially one that has so much to offer. I actually just got an email right before this Zoom call for a lease agreement so that I need to sign. But I'm living up in kind of far west hills area. And let's see, I would say like kind of what Jim was saying, live, kind of near downtown or places you can Uber, enjoy it when you're young, but also to hire a realtor, it is free on your end and they would do majority of the work for you, especially when you're working full time. It's really hard to look for apartments, and also due to COVID, you can hire a realtor for free when you're renting. And we had ours look for, 6 different properties in one day. So yeah, I would do that. It saves you a lot of trouble and time, and also scams if you went the Craigslist route, which is what I did because I was broke.
been there when I was in New York, but I lucked out and I was very happy about that. Allie.
Much to add. Everybody seemed to cover all the high points. When I first moved to Austin, I didn't know where I wanted to live, so I started down south on Stasny, and then I slowly progressed up, lived on South Congress, right in the middle of all the restaurants and shops, and then have bought a house right near the UT intramural fields. Oh gosh, I guess it's been about 6 or 7 years. But again, I'm close to downtown. I coach volleyball at a high school out west, and so it's close to that as well. And so it kind of depends on what your preferences are, what activities you like. Do you want to be near Silver Park? Do you want to be near great food or live music or the bar scene? So up to you, but always nice to start renting, I think, and then just bounce around, see what where your friends are and where feels like home to you.
Thank you. So what is one thing that you know now about living and working in Austin that you wish you knew when you started out? And we'll go to Jim first.
I think that the main thing that, well, I mean, obviously this is, the lockdown has made me appreciate all the things that I am bad about going and visiting. But the main thing is that traffic will absolutely ruin your day. And so to the extent that you can go somewhere and stay pretty close by, do that. Don't try to go across town really ever.
I think that's a valid piece of advice in most major cities too. Sarah.
I feel like mine is also kind of COVID specific. I feel like all the nature kind of like trails and paths and stuff I've been getting more into. Everything's kind of closed again now, but in that period where like things were closed but nature was open, I've just discovered a lot of new, I don't know, been like using the river trail more, and there's like the Southern Walnut Creek Trail. I don't know if y'all are into that, but it's like a 7-mile paved path one way, and it's really just bikers and walkers and joggers and stuff, and it's really great. So
what's that trail called,
just
Sarah?
What's that?
What's that trail called?
Southern Walnut Creek, I think. Also, I play volleyball at Pease Park, and you're a volleyball player. We should be best friends.
We should. I play every Monday. Well, I played every Monday night at Austin Rec Center, and I'm looking for additional coaches if you're.
I was like getting started like coaching, but I was gonna coach like 3rd graders. Like I was coaching like, little girls. But yeah, I normally, sorry, this is such a sidebar, but normally I play every Saturday at Pease. We'll talk later. I'll get your email. Liz, you got it.
Yeah, we'll play.
All good.
At some point.
Cool.
Okay, Chi.
Yeah, so I think one thing I noticed or knew when I'm coming back to Austin, it has like one of the lowest unemployment rates in America, which is like awesome. It's really good for young professionals. That being said, it's kind of a double-edged sword. There's a lot of jobs here, but it's also highly competitive. I found that's one thing. I think someone once told me, he's like, yeah, like when you're applying for jobs in Austin, like they're not just looking for people mostly locally. It's like people nationwide are applying all over and wanting to move to Austin or willing to move to Austin. So that's one thing to consider is, yeah, it's a pretty competitive market in that sense, but on the flip side, there's just a ton of startups, a ton of tech jobs, all of that here. So, but I guess it evens out, but just be aware that when you're doing applications and stuff, try to find like a way to stand out in, you know, some regard, I guess.
Okay, thanks. Allie.
Yeah, and I'd add to that, while it is it feels like a big city now, it is kind of a small town. I have found that a lot of people that I've worked with at the first company 10 years ago that I was working at are now vendors that support USAA, or teammates that I've brought on or have brought me over to different positions. So it's very connected, especially when you find your niche within whatever industry you're working in. So back to the first question, in terms of getting into the field, that networking is so important, and just asking to be connected and recognizing that someone that you meet around town could be someone that you work with at a later point, or play volleyball with, or walk around the trails. I also think I haven't explored nature as much as I have during COVID. Just getting out and walking around, or running around the neighborhoods. It's been really fun to explore everything that Austin has to offer from a outdoor space.
Great, thank you. So that concludes the questions that I had prepared for our panelists. Sarah or Eric, do you have any questions?
None so far, no.
No, I just wanted to say thank you guys for getting on and doing this. It's been super helpful, informative, and keep even though I feel like this is my city, I feel like I learned a lot.
Good, I'm glad. Amy or Tracy, y'all have anything that we might not have covered that you want to make sure we get information about out to our attendees today?
Well, Eric, what are you interested in doing?
I am still sort of figuring that out as we go along. I think originally I wanted to get into a tech startup and like possibly do either business development, sales representative, tech sales, that sort of thing. But at this point I'm still pretty open, and one of the things that I liked about graduating from Rhodes was that kind of more general business background. So I'm still looking for other positions like in marketing and even a couple finance positions, but kind of a little all over the place as far as business goes.
Eric, if you want to reach out, I have a lot of, the first couple of companies that I worked at were tech startups around town. And so I'm happy to share my experience in more depth or connect you with people that I know across different tech companies, from all the way from Salesforce to Trendkite or smaller organizations.
I would absolutely love that. I'll send you I'll connect with you on LinkedIn.
Good.
And I think that was my question too. I've been taking notes, and thank you for the websites. I've been taking screenshots as well. So thank you. I guess my question from a career services standpoint is, can we direct folks to you to connect with the network with? Would that be okay?
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I certainly, the legal stuff is a little bit more focused, but we interface with a ton of other agencies and non-lawyer type companies and groups that I'd be happy to share any information on.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay. Well, if there are no other questions from anyone, I will return part of your evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, taking time out of your day. We really appreciate it. Everyone be safe, enjoy some time outside. That's what I'm going to do. I'm about to go run.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate you organizing us.
Bye, all. Have a good night.
Bye.